Martin Clewitt in the park, Christmas Eve. Topic: shadow work. The shadow. It's a metaphor. Without light, there is no dark. Without a light source, there is no shadow. So I'm talking about something that my wife calls shadow work. Shadow work. There's the shadow. Let's try and keep the shadow in the shot for this. Shadow work. Oh, I'm going into a shadow. I can still see my shadow. Anyway, the point is, the concept of a shadow and shadow work is part of yourself that you do not often look into. Part of yourself that is not lit up by the lights of your consciousness, and therefore is phrased as a shadow. Andy asked us to do videos about our vulnerability. A lot of the stuff that I got into there I would consider part of my shadow. So I've decided, you may have seen another video I did where I came up with conclusions, and one of the conclusions that I wanted to follow up was where looking deeper into this place. And this is, I believe, called shadow work. I don't know where my wife got this phrase from, maybe Jung or something like that. I'm just going to quote her and blame her if it's all the wrong phrase. Anyway, I'm sure it's a perfectly good phrase. So shadow work. What I've been doing is trying to go back to points in my life and resolve the issues that cause negativity. How do I mean by resolve? Well, when you go back to some point in your life, I think one of the reasons we don't go back to these points is because they have associated negative emotions, and we don't like to experience those negative emotions. So going back to these points in our memory is not something that we want to do. However, it's not as bad as the first time round, and really, when you think about it, you're still alive, it's not that bad at all. So it's no harm, in actual real harm, in going back to these points, as long as you aren't doing it out of habit all the time and are stuck in a rut because you keep thinking about it. But that's not me. I'm quite a lot in the moment, so I'm alright to go back to these shadow points if I want to. So I go back to a few of these shadow points in my memory, or what I like to call my memory. Of course, this is just imagination. What I think is real, or what happened to me, reimagined, I guess. I don't know how memory works exactly, but to me it seems very similar to imagination. Anyway, I'm able to return to these points with quite a lot of clarity, to be honest, and I think the reason for that is because I remember them. So I went back to a few of these points and resolve things. Now, what do I mean by resolved? Basically, what I try to do is look at the negative emotion and try to transform that experience into something which holds a positive emotion, which actually causes something positive. And even if it hasn't already caused something positive, there is still time for me to learn from that experience and to get something positive out of it. They say every cloud has a silver lining. So I just look for the silver lining to the cloud. Once I've found the silver lining to the cloud, that's the positive element of that experience, and I can reinforce that positive element, thereby resolving the issue with my shadow and making it less painful for me to go back to in the future, because I know there is something positive about it. Therefore, it ceases to be part of my shadow. So I invite you to try it. I challenge you to try it, in fact, and you don't have to give us your experience, because these things may be personal to you, but just to talk about the experience of going into, lie down, close your eyes, go into sort of memory kind of state where you're going back in the mind and remembering things bad that happened to you. Try to resolve that emotion. Try to find the positive emotion within the experience that you consider to be, at this point in time, a negative experience. So that is my challenge to you. Look forward to hearing from you guys. I didn't mean to set out to challenge people, but that just sort of came out in the moment spontaneously, and I thought, why not? Okay, so Martin Clewych, Christmas Eve, in the park with the shadows, signing off.